and welcome back to episode 5 of Pro-spectives, your real estate podcast where you get the perspectives of 2 professional real estate agents. I am Jessica Provencher, the broker owner here of Pro Homes Group and Layer Realty Partners, and I am here with my co-host, Keith Valancourt.
Hi, everyone.
So, big news.
Yes.
That the March data is in, and home sales across the country are up 9.6%. I know. Super
Crazy,
exciting.
right?
It is, because
Weird.
Here's the thing is it was unexpected.
Yeah.
They were expecting another downturn.
Well, as rates were going up, people were expecting this month to be a little bit lower, but
and
not
remember,
the
this
case.
is national data.
Right.
The increase is from our area of the country, right?
Of course.
Yeah, from the Northeast. So, in fact, CoreLogic and Case-Shiller reported that prices rose 0.2% in March. So not only did the number of home sales increase far above what was expected, prices also increased, and this is in the face of a 7-month downturn.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I know
It shows people still want to buy.
Here's the thing, and we're going to get into it more about when we start talking about New Hampshire, but the bottom line is this country has a housing shortage. Mm-hmm. This country has a housing shortage.
New Hampshire has a huge housing shortage, but the entire country housing shortage. Everybody needs to buy.
Exactly.
Or wants to buy.
Yep. And with rates going up. So, we always talk about really understanding your local data, but it's important that the headlines you see, that you're aware of whether they're talking about a nationwide data. And all this talk about prices going down, et cetera, has all been nationwide. And so this data that's now coming up that's based on the whole country, saying that new home sales are up, I think the data here says they were projecting 623,000 in February. That's what the projection was for March. And we ended up at 683,000.
Jesus.
Right? 60,000 more homes across the country. It doesn't seem like a lot, but
that's quite a bit.
I think so.
I think that's a lot for what we were expecting, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And prices coming up a little is a lot too. Now, most of those gains are, like we said, in New Hampshire. So, we're going to jump right into New Hampshire, which is what everybody, if you're watching this, we're in New Hampshire. But New Hampshire just came out with its 2023 New Hampshire statewide housing needs assessment. That came out in March, which is huge. And this jumps right into the supply shortage. And according to the executive summary, New Hampshire is currently short 23,500 units.
Right now
in 2023.
In debt, 23,000 houses.
Correct. So when we talk about what we're seeing in terms of 30 offers and 50,000 over, et cetera, this is why. And this is why you're not going to see prices plummet. Mm-hmm. It's supply and demand. You learn this in high school economics. When there is such low supply and a high demand, then that raises prices.
People will still buy. The rates are going to increase. They're going to go down. They're going to fluctuate, but people still need to buy. And and we're not only just we're this last year, but over the next, until it looks like between 2020 and 2030, we need to be up 60,000 units. I know we're 23,000 now, but in the next
10 years,
7 years, we need to be up another 60,000 on top of that. So, we got to do something. There has to be things coming up to try to get more housing available for people.
Well, and this isn't just for buyers and sellers, rentals. Our rental situation is not any better. We have extremely low vacancy rates. And what that does is it favors high to medium income renters. And those are typically the renters that can then become buyers, right? So what we're doing is we're leaving low income residents kind of out of the mix. And the thing is that if we want our population to continue to grow, if we want our workforce to continue to grow, they need to have places to live.
Right.
So we need to, you know, when you talked
low
about
rental and affordable
housing, yes, 100%. And I found some things really interesting. Like, did you know that 63% of all housing structures in 2020 were single family?
I did not.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, because only about 12% are 5 to 49 units. So I always think of the big condo associations or big rental places. And you think like those must add up quickly, but that's only 12% of the housing in the whole state.
Wow.
You know, this report is fascinating. It talks about household types, the income, the total units we need. I thought some of the chances of getting a home were pretty interesting. These are about rentals, but renters would have about a 5% chance of finding an affordable vacant unit of low income renters. 5% chance.
That's not a very good percentage.
That's not a very good.
5% chance on many.
No, exactly. Especially if you're, and this says there's 23,000 renters in the state that are paying a higher rent than what is really affordable for their income. And I find this to be fascinating because when it comes to rent, they've started saying, you know, you need to make 3 times your rent in order to get, because the landlords can specify that, which is like very challenging. And I've had a number of clients who have come to me that are paying rent, have never missed their rent. They're looking to purchase and they cannot qualify for a mortgage with the same monthly payment as what they're currently paying in rent. And to me, this is such a devastating, I mean, I have
it's like a cycle. You're stuck.
You're stuck. Yeah, you're stuck in a cycle of poverty, really, because if we believe that home ownership and property ownership is the financial differentiator in this country, which I absolutely believe to the core of my being, then keeping people out of that opportunity,
of course,
keeps them in that cycle of renting.
You're paying a mortgage to rent, which is all you can afford, which keeps you in that state. Like you said, it's that cycle.
And the reason for that is because the debt to income ratios that are required for selling loans on the secondary market, etc. I feel like there should be some way where if you can prove, hey, I've been paying this and I've been paying it for 24 months or whatever, that there's some sort of exceptions that the lenders will use. I mean, these people that I know, they're paying it.
Sure.
They've been paying $2,000 a month, $1,700 a month for the last 2 years, and yet they don't qualify for a mortgage for that. So as you said, they're paying somebody else's mortgage, and that's fine.
Yep. Or they do qualify, but they can't afford or can't get one of these starter homes because of XYZ or the amount of people that are out there.
Yeah.
And people overbidding for these houses and getting them outpricing those people that can't afford the renovations that they have to do because they're sinking everything in. And again, they're stuck in this state of poverty. You can't buy a house. You're paying the rental, so that makes the owner of the rental happy, and it's just feeds into it.
It's a vicious cycle. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see, not just in New Hampshire, but what happens across the country to kind of remedy this issue, right? Because it's kind of like an American dream.
Home ownership,
land ownership, sure. And you know, how
everyone should have the opportunity to do that.
Correct.
You know,
it's interesting too what, you know, like I think about some of these people I'm referring to are single mothers, right? So if you're a single person or you're a married couple, you maybe can buy a 1-bedroom condo, stay there for a couple years, take out the equity to get into the new thing. But if you're a single mother or single father, or even a married couple and you have 2 or more kids, it's like you're not going into a 2-bedroom condo. Sure. You know, you need 3 bedrooms or whatever, especially if you have children of the opposite sex. So where do they go? Yeah. You know, and some of the rents in New Hampshire, I mean, you're paying $2,300 a month. That is a mortgage, but that was my first mortgage payment. So like $2,200 a month. It's crazy. Anyway, The bottom line is we're here to help you. So if you have any questions or concerns about where you need to be, reach out to us here at the Pro Homes Group, and we will certainly do all that we can to help find you permanent housing that works for you.
It's out there.
It's out there.
It's out there. You got to find it. You got to know people that can find it for you, and you have to be looking in the right spots and be looking for what is for you.
Correct.
But they are out there.
Yeah.
We find them.
We find them.
We absolutely do.
So, speaking of finding them, what do you think about this article about agents hiring virtual assistants?
Well, last week we talked about ChatGPT and how you should be using it for certain things and helping you in a lot of different fields. But this is the actual virtual assistant. So I thought this was great, and it's really opened my eyes. After the GPT, you start to think, and then we start reading and talking about this, and I'm like, that's different. The virtual assistant, I find, could be helpful in a lot of other different ways than the ChatGPT, but equally kind of as important or dynamic to what we do.
100%. And I think that Tom Ferry, the #1 real estate coach in the country, he always says, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. And it's true. Most of
I feel like one a lot. My own.
Your own, yeah. Most single or solitary agents, you're doing all the things. Mm-hmm. You're the social media marketer, you're the assistant, you're the listing prepper, you're the marketing specialist. I mean, you're doing all these things, and is that always our highest and best use of our time?
Of course, and that's what it's all about. It's the best use of the time.
Correct. So like when we say ChatGPT and then virtual assistants, I look at them as going hand in hand. Like, why do I have to utilize the ChatGPT when I have a virtual assistant who could do that? Exactly. Yeah, and then like I can keep moving and doing the things I do really well, sure, which are negotiating, communicating with clients, communicating with other agents, the real life human stuff. And the virtual assistant is kind of on the back end to support me and maybe utilize the technology.
Yeah.
And maybe they have an opportunity to get acquainted with it more quickly than I do.
Sure. And when you're hiring, that's got to be on the prerequisite. You have to be fluent in ChatGPT talk.
Yeah.
You got to know how to do certain things. You can add that into your when you're interviewing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's all about leverage. So like a solo agent completely by yourself, without a transaction coordinator, without an assistant, you're going to max out on how many deals you can do a year, just literally from time constraints. Sure. So when you start thinking about leveraging, I think a virtual assistant is probably your best starting place. And it's honestly where I started. I literally wrote down, it ended up being 4 pages. Like, this is all the stuff that needs to get done that maybe isn't my forte.
Sure.
And my first assistant was a great woman that I had previously worked with in another life. And she was looking to be a stay-at-home mom, stay home with her children. And she had all these skills. And so I said, listen, I know in the amount of time I'm going to pay you for, you can't do all 4 pages, but what can you do and what can you do well? And she was like, I can do this, this, and this. And it was like, yeah, go for it. And she did that all from home. I didn't dictate the hours. It was project-based, essentially.
It's gonna, like you said, very convenient for a lot of people that are stay at home or have other things going on.
Exactly.
Getting things done at their own leisure, that's huge for some people.
So I think figuring it out, like, what are the things that you need support with first and foremost, and then finding the right person for the job. Because that is something that I ran into trouble with when I tried to get one person to do all the things. Mm-hmm. And it's like that person that's really good at detail orientation and transaction coordinating and all those details may or may not be, most likely is not, the person that's good at social media graphics and posts, right? They're different type of personality. And so really figuring out what your first steps are, and then maybe you hire multiple part-time virtual assistants.
I was going to say virtual it's got to be less expensive than having an actual employee coming into the office and that sort of thing. I assume it's got to be insurance benefits and all that kind of stuff out of it.
Actually, I mean, hopefully I was supposed to do this. But because I made it project-based, all of my assistants have been paid as 1099 contract employees.
So that's really convenient.
Yeah, so, really she did 10 hours, and I had a social media person that did, 10 hours, and it was projects.
Sure.
So I didn't dictate their hours. I didn't dictate where they had to be. And so you kind of can
so virtual assistant seems like a really good thing. Chat GPT, whether you're using it, not using it, they want to use it. Whoever wants to use it, can get some serious help from somebody else using their own brain.
Yeah, 100%. The more brains, the better. If you're an agent thinking about hiring a virtual assistant, let us know how your process has been and who you've used. We'd love to hear from you. So it's a quick and easy one this week.
Yeah, that works. If you want to subscribe, or if you want us to check out any articles, feel free to send them our way.
Yeah, we want to talk about what you're interested in. So let us know, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.